The unlikely hero of YouTube City, Doubtfire's journey. Doubtfire had always been an unassuming man, a quiet soul drifting through life with little awareness of the digital currents swirling around him. For the first half of his 38 years, he lived in blissful ignorance of the online world's chaotic rhythms. He was a simple man, content with his modest existence in a small apartment on the outskirts of a bustling metropolis. His days were filled with mundane routines: a 9-to-5 job at a local hardware store, evenings spent sipping cheap beer, and the occasional hobby of recording himself burping after chugging said beer. These recordings, which he uploaded to YouTube under the handle Doubtfire042, were his only foray into the digital realm, a hobby he started 10 years ago back in 2015 when he was 28. His channel had a meager following, a few hundred subscribers at best, who found his burping antics oddly endearing. But Doubtfire never imagined that his little corner of the internet would lead him into the seedy underbelly of YouTube City, a metaphorical digital metropolis where creators, algorithms, and villains collided in a chaotic dance. YouTube City wasn't a real place, of course. But to those who lived and breathed the platform, it felt as real as any concrete jungle. It was a sprawling network of channels, communities, and cliques, where creators battled for views, subscribers, and clout. Beneath the surface of viral videos and trending challenges lay a darker side, a seedy underbelly where nefarious forces thrived. There were the clickbait kings, who lured unsuspecting viewers with misleading thumbnails and empty promises, the troll armies, who flooded comment sections with vitriol, and worst of all, the algorithm overlords, shadowy figures who manipulated the platform's systems to bury good content and promote divisive drivel. Doubtfire in his early YouTube days was blissfully unaware of these villains. His beer videos were too niche, too innocent to attract their attention. He was a small fish in an ocean he didn't even know existed. That all changed on a fateful evening in the spring of 2025, just a few months shy of Doubtfire's 38th birthday. He had decided to celebrate a personal milestone, reaching 500 subscribers, by treating himself to a rare night out. Legal recreational weed had recently been legalized in his state, and Doubtfire, curious but cautious, decided to give it a try. He wandered into a dispensary, a dimly lit shop with walls lined with colorful jars and a faint, skunky aroma in the air. The clerk, a cheerful young woman with dreadlocks, recommended a strain called Cosmic Haze, promising it would open his mind to new perspectives. Doubtfire, ever the skeptic, chuckled, but bought a small pre-roll anyway. That night he sat on his couch, lit the joint, and took a tentative puff. The effects hit him like a tidal wave, his mind expanding in ways he'd never experienced. Colors seemed brighter, sounds more vivid, and for the first time, he felt a strange connection to the digital world he'd so long ignored. It was in this hazy, enlightened state that Doubtfire logged into YouTube, his fingers fumbling over the keyboard as he scrolled through his recommended videos. That's when he stumbled upon a live stream hosted by a creator named Bounty. Bounty was a legend in YouTube City, a fearless vigilante who used his platform to expose the platform's darkest corners. With his signature cap, oversized headphones, and a room filled with anime posters, Bounty looked every bit the part of a digital warrior. His stream that night was titled Unmasking the Algorithm Overlords, A Call to Arms, and Doubtfire, still riding the high of Cosmic Haze, clicked without hesitation. Bounty's voice boomed through Doubtfire's laptop speakers, passionate and urgent. "They're out there, folks," Bounty said, his eyes blazing with determination. "The villains of YouTube City are real, and they're controlling what you see, what you think. But we can fight back. We just need the right tools and the right people." Doubtfire, in his altered state, felt a surge of inspiration. He didn't know why, but he felt compelled to join the chat. His fingers hovered over the keyboard, and then, on a whim, he typed, I can help. I hum nonsense. Maybe it'll confuse them? He hit send before he could second-guess himself, the weed making him bolder than he'd ever been. To his shock, Bounty noticed his comment amidst the flood of messages. "Doubtfire042, huh?" Bounty said, a grin spreading across his face. "Humming nonsense, you say? That's unconventional. But I like unconventional. DM me, man. Let's talk." What followed was a whirlwind of events that Doubtfire could scarcely believe. Bounty invited him to a private Discord server where he met the rest of Bounty ES Team, a ragtag group of creators who called themselves the Observation Organization. There was KC. He's a tech-savvy coder who could hack into any system. Susie, a hologram caster whose holograms disrupt algorithmic patterns. And Ginger, truth-giver who knows every dark secret of YouTube City. They were a tight-knit crew, united by their mission to take down the platform's villains. Doubtfire, still reeling from his first encounter with legal weed and the surreal turn his life had taken, felt out of place among these digital heroes. But Bounty saw something in him, a raw, untapped potential that even Doubtfire didn't recognize. "Listen, man," Bounty said during their first video call, his voice crackling through Doubtfire's headphones. "You might not realize it, but you've got a gift. That nonsense you hum, it's chaotic, unpredictable. The algorithm overlords thrive on patterns, on predictability. But you're a wild card. You could be the key to throwing them off balance." Doubtfire blinked, unsure how to respond. He'd spent his life feeling unremarkable, a nobody in a world of somebodies. Yet here was Bounty, a YouTube legend, telling him he could be a hero. I don't know," Doubtfire stammered, scratching the back of his neck. "I'm just a guy who burps on camera. I don't even know how to hum anything useful." Bounty laughed, a warm, infectious sound. "Don't worry, Doubtfire. We'll figure it out together. Welcome to the team." Over the next few weeks, Doubtfire trained with the Observation Organization, learning the ins and outs of YouTube City's underbelly. Ginger taught him how to spot manipulated algorithms. KC showed him how sound frequencies could disrupt digital systems, and Susie filled him in on the history of the platform's darkest players. But it was Bounty who worked with Doubtfire on his unique ability, his humming. At first, Doubtfire's attempts were clumsy, a series of random notes that sounded more like a broken kazoo than anything useful. But as the weed opened his mind further, he'd taken to smoking a small joint before each session, he began to tap into something deeper. His humming took on a strange, almost hypnotic quality, a chaotic melody that seemed to defy all logic. Their first mission together was a test run, a small-scale operation to take down a clickbait king named Viral Vortex. Vortex had been flooding YouTube with fake life hack videos, tricking viewers into wasting their time on useless content while raking in ad revenue. The watchers tracked him to a corner of YouTube City known as the Trending Slums, a chaotic hub of low-quality content. As they prepared to confront Vortex, Doubtfire felt a knot of anxiety in his stomach. "What if I mess this up?" he whispered to Bounty, his hands trembling. Bounty clapped him on the shoulder, his grin unwavering. "You won't. Just do what you do best. Be yourself. Hum like your life depends on it." The confrontation was unlike anything Doubtfire had ever experienced. Viral Vortex, a sneering man with a fake tan and a cheap suit, laughed when he saw Doubtfire step forward, headphones on and cap pulled low. "What's this? A beer burping nobody thinks he can stop me?" Vortex taunted, his voice dripping with disdain. But Doubtfire, fueled by a mix of cosmic haze and Newfoundland courage, closed his eyes and began to hum. The sound started soft, a low, erratic drone that seemed to fill the digital space around them. It grew louder, more chaotic, a jumble of notes that made no sense, yet somehow felt alive. To Vortex, it was nonsense, a grating noise that made his head spin. But to everyone, it was something else entirely. Doubtfire's bumbling mumbling was tumbling forth, a weapon of pure chaos that disrupted Vortex's carefully curated algorithm. Within minutes, Vortex's channel began to glitch. His videos dropped from the trending page, his subscriber count plummeted, MOBA, and his ad revenue streams dried up. They watched in awe as Doubtfire's humming brought the clickbait king to his knees, his digital empire crumbling before their eyes. When it was over, Vortex fled into the depths of YouTube City, vowing revenge. They erupted into cheers, lifting Doubtfire onto their shoulders, metaphorically, of course, since they were all in different locations. "You did it, man!" Bounty shouted, his voice crackling through the Discord call. "You humbled that fool!" Doubtfire, still humming softly to himself, could hardly believe it. For the first time in his life, he felt like he mattered. From that day on, Doubtfire became an integral part of the community, his humming a secret weapon in their fight against YouTube City's villains. He never quite got used to the spotlight, always preferring to stay in the background, but his teammates knew the truth. Doubtfire, the unassuming beer burp creator, was a hero in his own right. And as he sat in his apartment, a joint in one hand and his laptop open to the Watcher's Discord server, he couldn't help but smile. He'd spent the first half of his life unaware of the digital rhythms around him, but now, at 47, he was finally in tune with the beat.